Well, I'm happy to buy a ticket to the Illinois State Fair, and I encourage everyone in our state to come one of the next few days to Springfield and learn a lot, see a lot, have a lot of fun, and hear a lot of good music. We got Eric Church tonight, still tickets available, and Miranda Lambert will be a week from tomorrow night, and a lot of other good acts as well. And I think the best thing about the Illinois State Fair is celebrating our agriculture, which we're second to none on in the whole world, and especially this summer with the drought, we want to make sure our men and women of agriculture understand that the people of Illinois are proud of them and want to help in every way. So I'm glad to answer any questions.
Are you worried about the higher ticket price going to keep anybody away?
Well, I don't think so, no. I think the basic price is a pretty good price for all the fun you can have, all the things you can see, all the musical acts you can hear. Everything is good.
What'd you eat last night, Governor?
I had 2 pork on a stick, 1 pork sandwich, 2 scoops of ice cream, 1 iced tea, and I've just begun. Yeah.
Have you walked across Illinois?
I have walked across Illinois 11 years ago.
This year, though?
Oh, you mean on our walking? Yeah, I haven't finished, but I'm pretty far along. Yeah, I'll get a lot of walking in from last night, and then the fair, and I'll be at the Billiken Parade this weekend up in Chicago. That's a long walk. So the idea is by the end of the year to have 167 miles.
What are you going to do with Leucadia bill, Governor?
Well, this afternoon when I get back to my office, I'll make that decision. I have all my papers. I read some of them last night. I'll read some more today, during the day, and make a decision.
You're still on the fence? What's yet to decide about Leucadia? What's the unfinished part of your mind?
Well, I think it's important that everybody's voice be heard. I encourage that. I think anyone who has an interest in a bill that has passed the legislature but has to be signed by the governor should express that interest. So we've had a robust debate and dialogue on that, and I think that's healthy.
Why not, with proper security accompanying them, can't reporters visit a minimum security prison? It used to happen all the time in Illinois.
Well, I don't think that's a good idea. I think prisons are there to incarcerate criminals. I think we have to protect the general public. I think we have to protect those who work at the prison, and we have to make sure the inmates are secure. So that's my decision.
Are you going to look into the situation that John Howard and others found at Vandalia and Vienna?
We always pay attention to anything that John Howard Association brings forward, or anyone else, and we want to pay attention to that, make sure things are done right.
How does letting somebody go into prison and take a look violate protection of the prison? How is that a danger?
Prisons aren't country clubs. They're not there to be visited and looked at.
But taxpayers are paying for them.
Yeah, well, fine.
Yeah,
I think we have to make sure they're secure, and I think the security of the public is paramount when it comes to prisons.
Governor, with all due respect, why should we take your word for it? To build on John's question, why should we take your word for it that prisons are okay?
Well, I think it's important that we listen to those who are on the front line at the prison with respect to working there and understanding their decisions regarding the safety of the prison. Our correction officials who are running the prison, our wardens, they have, I think, expertise that we ought to pay attention to.
I say this respectfully, but that's the same department that brought the taxpayers' MTT push, which you said you were not aware of. So, again, why should we?
Well, we're not going to have tours of Illinois prisons. I think it's important that we have security at the prison for the general public, for those who work there, and for those who are incarcerated there. And I think that's the way to go.
But the union representing those workers says it's not safe, it's not secure, and getting more dangerous. They've taken you to court over that.
Well, AFSCME obviously has difference of opinion with me when it comes to closing prisons. I've decided to close Tam's prison. It was half empty, and it costs a lot of money to run the prison, 3 times as much to incarcerate the prisoners there. And they don't like that. They're sore about it. We're going to court. We'll work through the whole process. But basically in Illinois, if we're going to have proper resources for our education, for taking care of abused children and making sure that doesn't happen, for dealing with our health care, all of those issues are very important core priorities. We cannot have a prison system that has half-empty prisons, and there are those who are unhappy about that, and union called asked me, but I just have to go forward with what I think is right.
Would you have liked to have had a heads up that the state police was going to investigate these leaks at TAMS? Shouldn't your state police department tell you what's going on?
Well, they have to enforce the law, and I have total confidence in the director of state police. He's a professional, served in Vietnam, served very honorably in the police force of Chicago. Now he's the director of the Illinois State Police. If someone is violating the law, whoever that might be, they should be aware that they don't do it with impunity. If they violate the law, then there'll be law enforcement looking into it.
Changing topic, can I get your thoughts on megabus safety?
Well, we sent a letter to our Secretary of Transportation, Ray LaHood, and asked him to look into this company. They've had 2 very serious fatal accidents in a very short period of time. And I think it's important that we get to the bottom of it, and I hope the Secretary of Transportation, the department, and then the divisions under that take our letter and go forward.
Why send a letter?
I think that's a good way to communicate. I know Ray LaHood, he's a very good friend of mine, and I think you formalize a situation of public safety on our highways. Illinois has got miles and miles of highways that are part of our economy, but also are part of getting people to and from work and school and where they want to go on vacation. And we don't want to have anything dangerous or any company that's operating a dangerous situation of jeopardizing the public.
Are you aware of this company having problems in other states, accidents elsewhere? Have you heard of anything?
Well, I know what happened in Illinois, and it happened really in less than a month, 2 fatal accidents, and I think given those circumstances, it's important to get to the bottom of it.
Governor, are you doing any work behind the scenes to try to line up support for a comprehensive pension plan next week? Are you meeting with lawmakers to try to get votes on the table?
I'm doing it not only behind the scenes, but in front of the scenes. I've been working on that all year long, since February, in the speech at the State of the State, and then the budget speech. This is our #1 issue in Illinois. It's very hard to do it, to have pension reform, but if we don't, our state will suffer grievously. Our children will suffer in particular, their education. So we have to really rise to the occasion. And I've spoken to legislators of both parties, both houses. My staff has had continuous meetings. And I'm hopeful that next Friday we'll have legislators who are committed to the common good and doing something hard.
Why do you think those meetings will be productive now when they haven't been up until this point?
Well, I think democracy is working together and solving problems. And this year we were able to restructure the Medicaid system in a bipartisan way. We were able to eliminate the political scholarship program that existed for more than a century in a bipartisan way. And now we have to do the pension reform. It's costing us $12.6 million a day. Our pension liability, the worst in the country of any state, is over $83 billion. So this is fire bell in the night. We must act. We're doing it not just for our time, but for the future, for our children and their children. And I think that's imperative that we do things for history. I think Abraham Lincoln would be very proud of us that we use government of the people to solve this problem for the people.
But even your bill wouldn't have taken effect till next year. What's the rush? Why can't we wait till the fall session? Why a special session?
There's people with green eye shades who rate our bonds. They are credit rating agencies. They also buy our bonds. And they pay attention to what we're doing now. And the notion that we can sort of wander along and take care of this problem sometime down the road a piece is not a good policy. It'll hurt Illinois' credit rating if we don't act promptly and decisively. And I think that's really what we should do.
Governor,
I think that's good for the people and it's good for jobs.
Governor, what do you tell people? What do you tell people, Governor, that are headed toward the exits and saying, you know, we got to retire now to protect our benefits? What do you?
Well, anybody has a choice. We want to keep our employees who are doing good jobs, and we appreciate their effort, and we want them to have a decent retirement. But we have to understand that the current rules dealing with pensions are ones that are unaffordable for the people of Illinois. We cannot have a situation where we are spending more money on pensions than we spend on education of our children and our students. So this is really a policy issue that we have to deal with. It's no fun doing it. It's very hard, but it's absolutely necessary.
Is there any credence? Is there any, just to follow up on that? Is there any credence to the idea that they should leave now rather than stick around? Or are there
people always have a choice, and I don't take that away from anyone. But I think we can do this in a fair way that's reasonable and secure and constitutional. Maybe back there.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think Republicans are being unreasonable? They're not showing any willingness to compromise on the cost share.
I was, I was with our business community on a couple days ago, and we went to Chicago, we went to Rockford, Quad Cities, Peoria, we were in Decatur, ended up in Mount Vernon. And these are our business people who are the employers of Illinois. They simply can't understand why Republicans in particular aren't for fundamental pension reform. That there does seem to be a hesitancy on the part of Republicans in the House and Senate. And the time for analysis is over. We can't have paralysis by analysis. And our business community is very strong in our support for the pension reform that I've enunciated. I've heard it from business people, large and small, that they feel that the plan that I've supported with Representative Elaine Nickritz as the sponsor, that's a good plan. And it's good for business, it's good for jobs. We have to understand that jobs are number one for the people of Illinois. And in order to have better jobs and more jobs, pension reform is part of that strategy. And our business people know it, and they, I think, need to tell all of our legislators of both parties in both houses that the time for tap dancing is over.
What about the casino bill? What are your plans for that?
Well, we're going to work on that. I think the deadline on that is the 28th of the month. We have to, you mentioned one bill, the Lucadia bill, I have to decide today. Then we have our pension reform next Friday. So we have a little more time on the gaming issue. I invite anyone who is pro or con to send their comments and thoughts in. It's a very important matter. I think we have to understand that when it comes to gambling, especially in the city of Chicago, we must have strong ethics standards. If we don't, we'll all regret it for years to come, and our children will as well. So I think that's an important.
Back to the stand on that. What's yet to be decided on?
Well, it's a complicated bill. It has a lot of different moving parts. One of them is making sure the gaming board that oversees gambling in Illinois has got enough tools to do its job right.
Governor, back to the prison issue.
Last question. We'll get going.
Your administration says it's devoted to transparency, but we've got the issue of being able to get to prisons. You just issued a whole bunch of the most heavily redacted emails, what experts says they'd ever seen. How can you say you're devoted to transparency when you have all these issues that seem to be suggesting a lot of secrecy?
Well, I think, when it comes to security issues, you're running a prison. That's got to be secure. And I rely on those who are the wardens and those who are in charge of the prison system to make fundamental decisions that are proper for public safety. And it's also the safety of those who work there and the safety of the inmates. So I think that's a fundamental policy that we'll always follow.
And the emails on the selection of a news conference location, why is that being kept so secret?
It's not. It's available to the public. The address is available to the public. It's sent to the media. Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you guys.